My name is Peter Sullivan, and I didn't go to the Cascade Mountains to find a monster. I went there to escape one. For 2 years, I had been working as a lead developer at a tech startup in Seattle. 80-hour weeks, no weekends, no holidays. My life had shrunk down to the glow of 3 monitors and the endless, crushing weight of deadlines. I was starting to hear Slack notifications in my sleep. I was seeing lines of code when I looked at people's faces. My doctor called it severe burnout. My therapist said I was on the verge of a psychotic break. She told me I needed to disconnect completely. No Wi-Fi, no cell service, no electricity if possible. Just me and the silence. So I rented a cabin deep in the Cascades, 2 hours past the last paved road. I packed my truck, grabbed my husky Kodiak, and drove until the signal bars on my phone disappeared.
Keep your eyes peeled, boy. We're almost there. Okay, boy, come on out. Woof, woof.
I thought 3 days of silence would save me. I was wrong. The cabin was perfect. It was a small A-frame structure sitting in a clearing surrounded by dense, ancient pines. The trees grew so close together they blocked out the sky, creating a permanent twilight beneath the branches. But the air was clean. It smelled of pine needles and damp earth, not stale coffee and ozone. Kodiak loved it immediately. He spent the first afternoon running circles in the clearing, tail wagging, chasing squirrels that didn't exist. I sat on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, and for the first time in 24 months, I felt my shoulders drop. I didn't think about the project launch. I didn't think about the bugs in the code. I watched the sun go down. Grilled a steak over the fire pit. And went to bed feeling almost human again. The silence was so heavy, it felt like a physical weight. It was peaceful. Until 3:33 a.m. I woke up because the silence was broken. It wasn't a bear crashing through the brush. It wasn't the wind. It was a sound I knew better than my own breathing. Click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. It was rhythmic,
What was that?
fast, mechanical. I lay in the dark, staring at the wooden beams of the ceiling, trying to make sense of it. It sounded exactly like a mechanical keyboard. The Cherry MX Blue switches I used at the office. Rapid-fire typing. But it was coming from outside. I sat up slowly and whispered Kodiak's name. Usually, if a deer or coyote came near the cabin, Kodiak would be barking his head off. But he was silent. I looked over the edge of the bed. He was shoved deep underneath the kitchen table, his body pressed flat against the floorboards. He wasn't growling. He was trembling. I could hear his claws scratching softly against the wood as he shook. That scared me more than the noise outside. I grabbed my tactical flashlight from the nightstand. The sound continued. click, clack, click, clack. It was relentless, furious, like someone trying to meet a deadline before the world ended.
Keep your guard up. Something's out there. Hear that?
I walked to the window facing the tree line. My hand hovered over the curtain. I told myself it was a woodpecker, maybe a branch hitting the siding. I pulled the curtain back and clicked the flashlight on. The beam cut through the thick mountain fog like a knife. It illuminated the clearing, the frost on the grass, the old stump near the fire pit. And then, the light hit the tree line. There was a man standing there. He was standing about 50 feet away, right where the forest swallowed the clearing. He was facing me. He was wearing a gray hoodie and jeans.
Clickety-clack.
My gray hoodie. My jeans. I froze. My brain tried to process what I was seeing. It looked exactly like me. Same height, same build. But it wasn't standing like a person. It was rigid, stiff. And his hands, God, his hands. He had his arms raised in the air at chest level, hovering over nothing. His fingers were moving in a blur. He was pantomiming the action of typing on an invisible keyboard.
Clickety-clack.
Out there in the freezing cold, in the middle of the
Click.
woods, he was typing. Click, clack, click, clack. The sound wasn't coming from his fingers. It was coming from his throat. He was making the sound with his mouth. I moved the flashlight beam up to his face. It was my face, but it was wrong. The skin looked waxy, shiny, like it had been pulled too tight over the skull. But the eyes were the worst part. They were wide open, impossibly wide. The eyelids were pulled back so far I could see the whites all around the irises. They were bloodshot and dry. He wasn't blinking. He was staring directly into the light, directly at me, with this fixed, plastic grin that stretched his cheeks to the breaking point. He didn't react to the light. He just kept typing on the air, typing and typing and typing. Then he stopped. His fingers froze in mid-air. He took one step toward the cabin, then another. His movement was glitchy, skipping frames like a bad video connection.
No, stay back. What is that?
I dropped the curtain and scrambled back. I checked the deadbolt on the door 3 times. I dragged the heavy oak table across the room and slammed it against the entrance.
Almost there. Hold on.
From outside, the typing sound stopped. For a moment, there was silence. Then a voice. It was my voice, but it sounded flat, hollow.
The deadline is Friday, Peter.
Keep back. Go away. Stay.
A heavy blow against the wall.
He's here.
The deadline is Friday.
The deadline is Friday, Peter.
Thump. We need to optimize the back end, Peter. Thump, thump. It walked around the cabin all night, tapping on the walls,
there.
whispering
You
snippets of
can't
code,
hide from me.
repeating emails I had sent weeks ago.
Hello.
It was reciting my burnout back to me. Kodiak didn't make a sound. We huddled in the corner of the room, waiting for the door to break. I don't know when it left, but as soon as the sun turned the gray sky to a lighter shade of gray, I bolted. I didn't pack. I grabbed my keys, grabbed Kodiak, and ran to the truck.
Go! Go! Faster! Keep up!
The clearing was empty, but the dirt near the tree line was disturbed. There were footprints, hundreds of them, pacing back and forth in the same spot, wearing a rut into the earth. I drove 4 hours straight back to Seattle. I didn't turn on the radio. I just gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. I told myself it was a hallucination, sleep deprivation, psychosis. I told myself I was safe. This morning, I had to go back to the office. I walked in, sat at my desk, and stared at my black monitor. I felt exhausted, but I told myself it was over. Then I saw my reflection in the dark screen. My reflection wasn't looking at me. It was looking slightly to the left, and it was smiling. That same wide plastic grin. I blinked. The reflection didn't. The monitor flickered to life before I touched the power button. My email inbox opened automatically. There was one new message at the top. Sender, me. Time sent, 3:33 a.m. Subject, we aren't finished. I opened it. The body of the email was just thousands of lines of text, not words, just click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack.